Goeiemiddag allemaal. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Tech Talk session where we're going to chat with D6. En dan hierdie is die kontakbesonderhede van ons provinsiale bestuurders. These are the contact details of our provincial managers. Please take the information down. If you have any more questions that you need to ask, you're welcome to send it to the provincial managers or otherwise to Riaan van der Bergh. His contact details is at the bottom of that list. You can contact him if you have any further questions. And as I said, you're allowed to ask questions. Willem and Riaan will answer them at the end of this session. And there you go. Riaan is the presenter with Willem, the guest speaker today. Riaan, over to you. Thanks.
There we go. Goeiemiddag almal, good afternoon. Looking at the list of attendees, ek dink ons is so 'n bietjie dalk meer Afrikaans as Engels, maar ons gaan soos gewoonlik die sessie oorwegend in Engels aanbied because we don't have the luxury of doing two sessions. So for our mixed audience, let's go. Willem, welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It's webinar time again, and after a few years of being over webinar, it seems like our audience is keen on hearing what we have to say. I'm going to quickly share my screen and just lead in with a few opening remarks. Let me just get that done. And let's just talk about Tech Talk. It's nice, all the T's. Tech Talk, Tuesday at 3. Ons gesels bietjie tegnologie in die onderwysspasie. D6 is nie vir ons vreemd nie. It's not the first time we've had D6 on, and they've been a partner and a member of the Center for Technology for some time already. I see I've got a Center for Finance and Risk Management logo next to me, so that's the wrong background. I apologize for that, but let's not change that. Now, we're talking tech in the Center for Technology, Tech Talk with D6, and yeah, maybe just as an opening remark, most of you will know that for many years I've been saying that the slogan, the mantra, the aim of the Center for Technology is to follow this slogan: let us learn as we live. I'm hoping and praying and envisioning the day where our living spaces will be mirrored in our learning spaces, learning processes, learning environments. As ons kan leer soos ons leef, dan het ons nie 'n disconnect tussen ons werklike lewe en ons leerlewe nie. Ek dink dis wat kinders baie keer beleef. So we want to see that our learning spaces, our learning institutions mirror the fact that how we have changed in day-to-day life, using technology, using new technology, changing behavior. I think 5 years ago, no one had Netflix. Now everyone has Netflix. What changed? So how can we mirror what we learn, how we live in how we learn? And so I just want to reiterate that. And in saying that, every year we have a theme for the year, and our theme for 2023 is Move the Boundaries. I've been doing this work for many years, and see us moving as an education sector, moving slowly and slowly, but I think we're at a point in time where we've got to really move our boundaries. Some of us say think out the box. I say let's go back to the box and think of the tools we have. All the tools in our toolbox, let's use them for the betterment of education. So yeah, before the year started, I was sitting on a rock looking at the sea and saying, what should my theme be for 2023? And the thought of moving boundaries came up, and then a few things happened at the beginning of this year, like onder andere ChatGPT came our way and started discussions and thinking. So we want to get out of this box. Let's move our boundaries and think anew, think innovative, and that's why we're talking to D6 today on the cutting edge of innovation and even their product. So I want to ask everyone in the audience, if you can, jump to the Q&A box and just by indication of yes, say who uses a D6 product. Who uses any D6 product? Let's just quickly see. It's just a very informal poll. I'm going to open the Q&A box and see if there are anyone. If not, yes, there's one yes. Yes. Okay, it's running wild. There we go. It's coming in. I see everyone can type. as jy wil ja sê, kan jy ook ja sê, but yes is an Afrikaans word, I think. Hoe van het? Yes, man. I'll say. So we've got quite a few users of the product or some portions of the product. Yes, parent, yes. Good stuff. So D6 is not unfamiliar to you guys. Thanks so much for that. I see quite a few, about half the audience have already indicated. So thanks for that. I'm assuming that some of the rest also use some of it. They just maybe on a cell phone, or some of them don't use the D6 product, which is great, so that we can talk about it. So today's discussion is not the full scope of D6. We're going to be chatting with a focus on communication and engagement. What we see is that broadcasting is one thing, but actually connecting, actually engaging, and actually having parents involved is a different thing. I heard a talk on radio on 702 on Saturday morning with Nikki Bush, a parenting specialist, saying that schools must do their best to communicate well to parents, but parents have the onus to be involved in their children's lives and read what the communication is if there is a formal process of communication. You can't say you didn't know. And then the second one that we're going to be touching on today is that of payments or receipts. I like the receipts side of things because that's money coming in. Payments sound like it's going out, but it's an easy way for schools to receive payments. And then there's always Q&A available, and we'll spend some time at the end. I have a next slide, and there we go. When looking back over the past years, and I really try and follow the trends and read early in the year what people say, what were the biggest movers in the previous year. And apart from Checker 6060, which suddenly we just see scooters all around the world, in my neighborhood at least, I'm starting to know some of the 6060 delivery guys because they come so often that I actually know some of them. But we've seen a move to pay with your cell phone. I tap my cell phone everywhere. I don't have a wallet with me. I just tap my phone, and Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, all these payment options have really accelerated and increased. So there's a change in behavior. There's a change in how we get money and how we pay money. The second one is something that is a pet hate of mine. If I sit in a meeting and someone sends me a voice note, I cannot listen to it because I can read whilst in a meeting, but I cannot talk or listen to audible messages during a meeting. But that is happening. More and more people are sending voice notes instead of typed notes. And if you look at the bottom of the screen there, you'll see that we all know this, or all our wives know this. My wife, at least, they listen to it at double the speed, 1.5 times the speed. So I can never hear what her friends are telling her, but she gets the whole message because they're talking like chipmunks. But instead of a 2-minute message, you listen in 2 minutes, you listen to it in 1 minute. So there's something happening in our world that wants to make life easier and safer for payments, or to receive payments, and for improving communication. That's how we're living. So how is our learning spaces adapting to it? I'm going to lead in, Willem. Those were new innovations that is just forming part of our day-to-day life. It's touching our lives on a day-to-day basis. Innovation is all around us. What has D6 been doing on the innovation curve? You mentioned in the blurb that you've made some changes to your tech and exciting new things coming. What are you doing on the innovation cycle?
Thanks, Riaan. Yeah, it's good to be back. Also, welcome to everyone who joined the session. We've been, we didn't always get it right, but we've been working on a fairly big redo of our entire communication environment over the last 2 years, and we've now launched it now in the beginning of March in partnership with Schoolscape in the beginning of the month. With the last, I would say, probably 12 or 13 years of experience that we've had within the communication environment, I think we've learned a lot. We've made a significant amount of mistakes as well along that journey, but I think this time around we've really cracked it. Our communication platform that we've developed now consolidates communication and payments into a single environment. And we've obviously listened very attentively this time around to ensure that we understand the needs of both the school in order to ensure that they engage effectively with the parents, but also enable the parents to get less frustrated with over communicating With respect to adoption of technology, it is always dependent on how well we support the school to ensure that they use it properly, because to just dump a piece of technology onto a school will not necessarily mean any form of success. We will remain, and always has been, passionate about two things. One is, we believe schools are a complex environment and we want to help them to be as effective as possible. It's that old saying of a business with an average product but good management and good management structures can be successful, but a business with poorly developed management structures but a good product will never be successful. And we want to support schools that have got a good product. We want to help management of schools to be as effective as possible, because we believe that's the foundation of learning. If you don't have a sound management foundation, learning will be negatively affected. So our core passion is to help schools to be better and more effective in terms of how they manage themselves. And that ranges obviously from what we do from an admin, curriculum, finance, and then communication and payments perspective. And then the second thing is, what we're also passionate about is, we've seen it many a times. As soon as parents start to disengage and not be involved in what happens within the school, that school normally also deteriorates. So we want to, on the one side, empower schools, but on the other side, help parents be better and more effectively connected to their school without being inundated with over communication. I'm for the first time a father in a school with a grade R learner, so I'm experiencing our own product for the first time, and also experiencing certain frustrations. So, which is a fantastic thing, because then we can fix it. But I'm also experiencing ineffectiveness with respect to communication. My wife, it's not dissing WhatsApp groups, but I think she's following 6 or 7 WhatsApp groups. She's got 1 child at school. I think another parent has 3 children at the primary school. They've got 16 WhatsApp groups. And trying to dissect what's happening in that world is almost impossible. And that's the burden that we want to enlighten. And then also on the payment side, big thing, facilitating easier payments within the same environment without having to manage multiple applications. Reconciliation processes within the finance department is a very important thing that we've been focusing on. And then on campus payments, the ability for a learner to tap and pay. The only example I've got is a big sticker wearable that learners wear on their arm. But the ability to tap and pay, and parents managing all of that through their environment. And that's all done with our payment partner Ticket. So they help us facilitate our payments environment.
I want to interrupt there. I want to pick up on 2 things before I let you maybe show us a little bit of the upgrades and something. So parent engagement is something different to communication, because communication is what you do. You just send out, and hopefully people hear. But maybe what is so important about parent engagement? What do you find? You said that a school with more engaged parents are slightly better performing, or what can you tell us between the jump from communicating or having WhatsApp groups or sending out outstanding enigste briefies to parents replying, parents making it easy for parents to be engaged and involved? Maybe just a little bit on that.
I think within the school context, engaging is more being informed in terms of knowing what's going on and having easy access to relevant information, so that parents have up-to-date information in terms of what's going on. Engaging with respect to chat is a very small need within the school environment. Most of the communication that is being sent and distributed by schools to parents are in the form of broadcasting, to ensure that all the parents and learners, we have certain schools that also use communication platforms for engagement with learners, to ensure everyone is up to date with what's going on. So the engagement portion is more to ensure that one is up to date with everyone. All parents are up to date with what's going on, with the relevant stuff that they need to know. But secondly, also to enable schools to engage with parents in order to get certain feedback. So are you coming, yes or no? What time will you be there? Any form of question answer, because schools have a lot of information that they need to retain or get back from parents, and to simplify that process within a single environment.
So the big question is, if people don't tell you that they engage, is there a metrics or a mechanism, a little green, no, it's a blue tick on WhatsApp that says someone got it and they read it? Can you in D6 measure engagement by means of delivery and possibly reading so that you know how successful your communication was, so that you can bank on some engagement. But maybe you can show us, is that part of your of your screenshot demo? Okay, so let's park that one. That's a critical question. The one that you brushed over quickly is the easy payments and the office having to reconcile or not having to reconcile. Because I think sometimes we forget that if you tap and pay, the computer does everything. There's no person that does any allocation, reconciliation, or any of that sort. And that usually is a person at either a good salary, and I'm not saying we don't need to pay the salaries, I'm just saying that person could be doing something that a human can do and not something that a computer can also do. Just talk to us about that.
So I think about the feedback there is maybe twofold. On the one side, the ease of reconciliation within the finance department within schools are dependent on the software that schools use to manage their finances. So our view is schools need to move to cloud-based integrated financial platforms that integrate with the administrative core, irrespective of which product you use. We offer that from a D6 perspective, but there are other people that one can also utilize. But the importance of the link between administration and finance is important, so that when you engage with parents and ask them to pay for sports events or school fees or whatever payment you request from parents, that those reconciliations, if it's integrated, can happen automatically. For instance, if you send out for the grade 3 class that everyone must pay $50 for, I don't know, zoo trip, and the parents pay by the application, what normally happens is they use some of the third-party payment providers, which has no reference to the school's environment, and it becomes an additional reconciliation process that the finance department has to facilitate. Whereas if it's integrated, if it's paid, it automatically updates the debtors record within the financial platform. That is if it's integrated. If it's not integrated, we need to ensure that the extracts that you get from the payment platform is informative enough so that it eases the reconciliation process. And that's also one of the burdens that we found with a lot of the third-party applications that is being utilized. That reconciliation process becomes a complete nightmare. That was probably one of the biggest focus areas between ourselves and Sticker, to ensure that we can help the finance departments with ease of reconciliations, because we understand the challenge. It's one thing to remove cash, but to inundate finance departments with additional recons and schlep, it's almost as if you win on the one side, but you lose on the other, and we need to be able to win on both.
Yeah, no, I think that's a critical one. And sometimes we forget that it's, and I'm talking to school managers and school leaders, that it's sometimes easier to appoint a person to fix a difficult problem, but we don't look at a tool that can fix the problem if we just change our behavior. As ons 'n beleid het wat sê ons vat nie kontant nie, dan kan dit ook makliker wees in die kantoor, want dan is die kontant ook gereconcilieer. As ek reg is. So that's it. Maybe just a Q&A quick. Someone asked, I think you mentioned it, can the app can the app do reply slips?
Is that a question?
That's a question.
Yeah, okay. I'll yes. So I think we wanted to focus on three things when we redeveloped the entire communication platform. We kept three things in mind. One is we need to ensure that the correct data is in the platform. So data interoperability was a core thing that we had to focus on. Now, not all school management platforms have the ability to integrate. So if you can't integrate from a school management perspective, it's pointless, but we need to ensure that you've got the right parents in your backend. The right parents are linked to the right groups automatically. So whether it's via data import, we facilitate SSM, CMS imports, or any other Excel formats that we can facilitate, so that we ensure that the data that you've got is right, because rubbish in, rubbish out. So that was the first thing, accurate data, ensuring that the right people are linked to the right environments, and then the ability to communicate richer content, whether it's text, video, file, image, questionnaires, payment requests, locations, contact details, whatever that is that you want to communicate, that we enable the schools to communicate storyboards to the end user. So I'll show you an example now what I mean by that. And then analytics is critical. So let's assume you communicate to 1,000 parents. How do you know how many have then actually read the message? How do you know who has responded a yes or no? Who has opened the file or watched the video or engaged with the content. So
I think you need to show us. Can you jump into the platform? Because I think that whole storyboard idea, it makes sense to you. The whole video and everything and engagement. It seems like we need everything in one app for what's at school. Is that what you're trying to do? Putting everything that relates to the activities at school into one place. But yeah, please show us, because I think that will make it very clear.
Okay, cool. I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to show maybe just for the audience, I'm going to show what it looks like from a backend perspective. So this is the platform that the schools would utilize in order to engage or send out communication.
The school user.
Yeah. So can everyone see my?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the platform. It's my D6 school FEDSAS demo environment. And what I am going to assume here is that the data that you've imported into the environment, whether it's via API link, so whether we receive or retrieve the information from an administrative core, or whether one inputs it via an SSAMS import or CMIS import or Excel import, whatever the case might be, I'm going to assume that the data is right. So I'm going to assume that the groupings that have been set up is already in line with what the school wants to communicate. I think an important thing about the groupings is these groupings could be multiple. You can have one for every grade, one for every sports team. And you can also identify or determine whether these groupings should be private or public, meaning that everyone can follow it, or only the people that you allocate to those groups should be able to follow it. To give an example, under my grade 1 group, I've only allocated these number of parents, and the advanced properties are typically stuff where I say that they should be able to subscribe or unsubscribe. Within the school space, you do not want parents to unsubscribe from certain groups because they have to receive that information. So they cannot choose not to get it. Otherwise, they'll arrive at school saying, I never got the information. And then also, as I've mentioned, the big one is the hidden group, the private or public groups. So I can control who is part of that group or not. And all of this can be done via either API connectivity, meaning it can happen automatically, depending on the backend that's being utilized by the school, or through the import process.
Quick question, Willem. Can I just interrupt there? You're talking about the data. What if I have an au pair or a grandmother that needs to be on the group as well, because the au pair or grandmother is my child's Uber, but I'm not on the admin system, or my au pair or the grandmother is not on the admin system?
So they can be added to the backend manually, or they could request. We do allow public followers. We perceive a public follower to be someone that access the environment where they access public followable groups, and the organization or school can then promote that public follower to a member if they want to. So you can add as many people as you want to the environment. A very important thing that we had to accommodate also is parent-child linking. So which children are linked to which parents. In most cases in the school's environment, you want to send something to Pitty's father, but you don't necessarily know who Pitty's father is. So you want to, when you communicate, target Pitty, but it goes to the parent. So we need to facilitate parent-child linking as well. So in the platform, when we load members, there you can see I've got 2 children added to my account, and those 2 children are Francois and Jan Kitshoff. That's my real kids, not fictitious. And then you can also see the groups that I am linked to. So if I communicate anything to these respective groups, I will get them. But we do facilitate the ability to know which parents are linked to which children. So I'm gonna create a message just for the fun of it to show the capability. And remember, I'm assuming that the backend is already set up in such a way that it has all the parents that you want, all the learners that you want, and they are connected to the correct groups. So that I'm assuming is already accurate, but that's part of the process that we run with the school to ensure that when we do the data import, those setups are done properly. So I'm going to create a new message, and I'm going to say that I want to send something to the grade 1 class. I can add multiple. So let's say grade 1 and grade R. And I actually also want to communicate this to an individual. So Riaan van der Bergh, I'm going to communicate this to you as well. So there I've selected groups and individuals, depending on how you want to target. And then there's a bit of advanced stuff that we can do regarding parent-child linking. Only send it to the parents or only send it to the children. It gets a little bit complex, but we facilitate that. So I'm going to create a photo day. it is marked as important. And on the right, you can see it starts building the message, depending on how it's going to look within the application. Then I'm going to add a text field to say, woohoo, it's happening. Then I'm adding an image component. So I'm going to go into my desktop and I'm adding an image component which says, say, cheese. I'm adding an event which says it's this weekend. It is taking place on Saturday. And from, let's just keep the time as is. I want to send everyone a reminder beforehand. And the physical location is Dagbreek Manskosis. That's the residence I went to at varsity. So I'm just adding that. Then I can also add, I want to distribute a file to everyone, which is our info deck. So that's just the PDF that I want to also embed. And as mentioned, you can see how the message is being built on the right. I also want to add a form. So will you be attending? And that answer is a yes, no. I can say required. And I want to add another question and say, what time will your photo be taken? And you can, for instance, this could be obviously anything, but there it is a multiple choice with a single selection option. You can't select double, and that's 10 o'clock. Add option 11 o'clock. You can add multiple options. And then I say, I also want to add a payment component. So I'm just going to leave this. So I'm also going to say photos are 50 Rand 50 per photo. This is itemized. Let us know how many you want. Question. So that's itemized, and every photo is 50 Rand per photo. And I'm also going to add any donations will be welcome.
Well done.
That is an open item, so anyone they can give whatever they want. So that's a couple of examples. Maybe I did add image. Maybe one thing. I'm going to add a text item here, and I'm going to drag it to the top there. I'm going to say, have a look at our Fun Day 2022. And there I'm going to upload a couple of photos of last year's photo day. And there you can see it built the entire message, exactly how it's going to look like within the application. It has been marked important, and it also shows you what the news item will be within the app. Then it's just busy. My internet is a bit slow, so I'm maybe just going to delete some of the photos to relieve some of the, there we go. Okay, last one. Okay, there we go. So then I'm going to send it. Now, I think our sending methodology that we've adopted was also an important thing. We had to ensure that everyone gets it. So the right people, but everyone that is in that focus group. And not everyone has the application. Some people don't have an email address. So we also had to facilitate the ability to send an SMS. We're looking at the WhatsApp integrations, but it is a very expensive endeavor. As soon as a school goes to the WhatsApp business APIs, it becomes double or triple the price of an SMS. So WhatsApp integration is not necessarily something which is feasible commercially for a school, and that's why we have not included it yet. When we go to our sending methodology, you can save. Sorry, I wanted to do that. Just want to move this thing. So there it moves into either send or save as draft. I can send it, I save it as a draft. An important thing is we facilitate in the backend who has the ability to communicate what to which channel. So for instance, the grade 1 could only be the teachers of grade 1 that can send stuff to that, or the principal, or both. And then we also facilitate the ability to determine who's authors and who's distributors or the publishers. So some people can contribute, but they cannot release the message. So we facilitate that entire process. And then it goes into our waterfall methodology. It'll first send it to the app users. If you don't have the application downloaded, then it will send via email. And then I've deactivated SMSs. Just from a costing perspective, we do charge per SMS because the telcos charge us in order to send those SMSs. And then I'm going to send this message. So there the message has been published. Red 0, and there I can see to which groups was sent, grade 1 and grade R. And if I go into this message, you will see that no one has read it, but there's a couple of statistics in terms of how was this distributed: 70% by app, 29% by email, 0 SMSs, and no one has read it yet. Now I'm going to stop share and I'm going to go to the actual application.
Willem, can we get back to the stats later on?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna quickly open up my application. Here we go. So there, okay, I'm gonna do screen share. Can everyone see my phone?
I can see your phone.
There's the photo day at the top. It is marked as important, hence it's red. So photo day, and there I can provide feedback to Francois Norkia, my child. There's the Woohoo Say Cheese photo that I've added. I can add that calendar event to my native calendar on my phone. I did get a notification, as any other notification, to say a new message from D6. There's the info deck. That's the file that I've distributed. So if I open it up, it's going to open the info deck that I distributed via the platform. Will he be attending? Yes, I will. He will be there at 11 o'clock. I want to have 2 photos for that day, please. And I'm going to donate 250 Rand to the school, 250 bucks for the school. And there's a view of our previous photo day, which is not really photo day. That was a braai at the school. And then after I've submitted that, I can go into pay, continue payment. It takes me to my Sticket environment, because remember, Sticket is our payment partner within this entire environment. So they enable all of this for us. Pay via my Sticket wallet. That's the amount that I'll be paying, and I can pay. That balance is not my real balance, unfortunately. That's fictitious money, but it's just to show that it shows you what balance you have in your wallet. And there I have paid for that transaction. So there I've donated money to the school. This will then, in the back end, there you can see one of the 3 people paid that this message was sent to, which is myself and my 2 kids. And that message then has been completed. I can then go back, also add it to myself. No, I will not be attending. I'm not going to donate anything, and submit. I'm not going to pay anything. And for my son, for Jan, I'm going to say he will be attending at 10 o'clock. He wants 1 photo and not going to donate anything in addition. So there I have facilitated the payment for both Jan and Francois, which is my 2 kids, via the application. And you can see in my message builder, if I go back, I'm going to stop screen share again and go back to show you what it looks like from a backend perspective. Share, can everyone see this? Hello?
We can see it. Yep.
Sorry, just to show you so there's photo day read by 9 people, sent by Willem Kitshoff. If I go into that detail, then I can go into the actual detail of that message. So 62% of the people that are distributed to has read of the 16 people that were sent to. I've received 400 bucks via the payment summary, of which 150 was for photos. 1 person donated. Then I can go into my form responses. So who responded to what? No, 1 and 2 people will be attending, 11 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I can see who has opened the file that I've distributed. And then I can go into the actual details. So this is the detail of that report. Then I can say, tell me everyone unpaid only. And I can select all of them, and I can say, please send a reminder to them. It'll go into that same sending methodology, and I can remind all of those people that please provide feedback on that piece of communication. And I can also go into the actual details. So if we look at myself, this is how I engaged on that application. So exact time and date when I opened it, when I responded to. When I viewed the image, I opened the file, answered yes, no. I did not make any payments myself, unpaid, and these are the date stamps of how I've engaged in that specific message. So there's a lot of information or valuable information regarding that specific photo day. In that time, someone else has also now opened the message. We also track, it's not just open rates on the app, but we also track open rates on email. So there we can see the email was sent and delivered at a certain time. This one was actually sent to both. So we track both email and application, and also SMS delivery. We can't track how they've engaged within the SMS, but we do track how effective was that message distributed. So it gives a good overview. And if this is sent to 1,000 people, the school can easily say 60% have already read it, remind those other 40%. So that's a high-level quick example.
Yeah, I just opened the email, so you can see on my name on the email. I just saw it in my inbox.
Let's go to the
photo day.
So Riaan.
Yeah, just above there.
Riaan, there's email delivered at, it was delivered at that time. So that, I don't know what that is. Any demo has its
glitches.
Unanswered.
But I've opened it.
There's the open, right? So email opened 3:30.
Okay, but I want to slow down quickly because it's a lot of info and it's very familiar to you. I'm a parent at a school that uses D6 as well, and the sexiest thing that I can do is to pay any fees at a school with a blue button on my app. It just helps me so much because I never have cash on me, and if it's this 20 Rand for the sprayathon last Friday, or if it's 50 Rand for the cake sale, I'm always in trouble. But I can, on the way to school, I walk to school, it's 200 meters, I can even make payments. So that's really changed my life, but it's probably changed the school's life as well. So there's a few questions in the Q&A box that we need to address, but what I've seen is it's easy to author a message because quality and image-rich communication is what pulls people's eyes to a message. So it looks like it's easy to build it. And the calendar is in there. It looks like Google Maps are in there because you add location. But then it's not just one side of the story. So help me if I'm missing the summary here. You build the whole story, not just the yes, no, are you coming? And then it spills into a spreadsheet where you've got to go make another activity of, okay, now we've got to invoice them or wait for 20 Rand in a 5-liter ice cream bin so that we check it off on a list so that we know who's paid. This is all together, but it's a nice, easy build. And then it's nice to send, and it cascades or waterfalls to various channels depending on who is there. So you know that you've covered most of your communication. We've spoken about WhatsApp, but this can go to WhatsApp as well. You can copy and paste this and send it on your WhatsApp group if you want to. But the authoring looks video.
Yeah, you can. I think what we want to enable or drive schools towards is assuming that the data is set up correctly. So the right parents are linked to the right groups, and the right class representatives are linked to the right classes, and the right teachers are linked to the right classes. In the back end, those class representatives will only have access via the application to communicate to that specific class. So in the application, there's a small plus that you can see there at the bottom. If I click on that plus, I will be able to communicate to the groups that I've got access or rights to be able to communicate. So there I can see all my groups, and I can say I want to send something to the grade ones and add an image or a file that I want to distribute. Obviously, there's more richness if you utilize the backend within the web environment to send all these to facilitate the entire builder. But on the fly communication, standing next to the hockey field or sports field, taking a photo of what's happening and send it to the correct groups. That is what we want the schools to move into so that they can completely move away from the utilization of WhatsApp distribution platforms. Okay. Because the school manages it centrally and they dictate and determine who has access to what. So it's easier to manage and control.
Okay. So you're trying to push to the fact that this is the formal communication. This is the official formal school communication. And no rumors, no Swazirenica, no nothing else. This is vetted. This is quality. Yeah, it's long ago. Some people might still remember. I've got 2 questions in the Q&A box, and then we can possibly wrap up if there are any more. Our admin on D6 is still the old backend. When will we be updated, or when will the system be updated? So how are you rolling this out? The second one is we still use the D6 communicator. So I'm thinking just color in the various blocks, the black block, blue block, and the updates now, because I think if you see this, you get excited about this. So there is a time of phasing this in. How are you guys addressing this?
So what we did not want to do is disrupt our current customer base. We understand that if schools get up in the morning and all of a sudden it's a new backend, it's complete mayhem. So we will engage with all our schools on the old backends to ensure that we drive the conversion process in a responsible manner. We also need to ensure that all the data that's in the old environment is also replicated in the new or the upgraded environment, that there's nothing lost. So Fred, on your question, our customer success team will over time within the next month or two start engaging with schools to ensure that the transfer of old to new is done in the right manner, that we don't disrupt it in a negative way. So I hope that gives you feedback specifically regarding your question, Fred.
It's not months in advance, not months down the line. The process is close to being rolled out.
Yeah, I suppose the only caveat that we're still finalizing our desktop application, because we know that a lot of our current customers their parents still use the desktop application. And we did not want to engage with our current customer base if we didn't have feature parity to be able to provide desktop. So we engaged with a lot of schools and they said, no, if the desktop is not there, we don't want to change. And we need to make sure that when we convert, everyone is being able to convert in the same terms. There's also a question on the payment side.
What's the cost of the transaction?
So schools pay a transaction fee as they would have paid for any other payment device, whether it's utilizing a credit card machine on campus or SnapScan or Zapper or Carry for that matter. There will be a cost involved for the school. We charge, or Stickit, who's our payment partner, they charge 3.45% on that transaction value. So that's the cost that the schools will bear as the merchant. Remember, the school, when they utilize the payment platform with any of these devices, the school sign up as a merchant, and that merchant then has a cost of sale, as they will have with any of the other devices utilized on campus.
It's still cheaper than banking cash.
Much cheaper, and the risk is also much lower. So through Stickit, we also have a big focus on school events. The ability to sign up multiple merchants at that event, the Worsrolletjie Stalletjie, the Spookawesome Stalletjie, the whatever Stalletjies, and the learners can just tap and pay at these relevant events, and the parents manage everything within their Stickit environment. And the learners have the ability to tap and pay. And that was done through this thing, which I don't have a smaller replica. This was for a big customer.
I must just say, you haven't mentioned it, but my kids' school use the Stickit, the old straps, not the one that looks so funky. But I put in quite a bit of money in my wallet, but my kids can't spend more than $100 a day between the two of them. So I limit my exposure. So I don't have to put money in every day. I put it in my e-wallet, my Stickit wallet, but I have a limit of what they can spend. In case there's an emergency, they can definitely get some food, but they can't go buy ice creams for the whole class because they just feel nice that day, which would be nice. Willem, there's another question which I think we've addressed. Are you able to give an idea of the cost implication for schools? But maybe I'll swing it around. How does a school acquire D6? How do they make contact with you? How do they get better communication with improved payments and receipts? What's the next step?
Riaan, my view, the most effective way is go to our website, d6.co.za. Right at the bottom there is fill in your details, for sales team will contact you. Just pop in your details and we'll get in touch. That's the easiest way. Then it means we can also track how effectively we engage and ensure that we engage immediately. So that's definitely the best way. So d6.co.za, complete your details at the bottom of the website, and we'll get in contact. Or you can send us an email at sales@d6.co.za.
Okay. There's someone that even leaves their number, but there's a good question. How long till the funds or payments will show in the school's bank account? And I think that's always a relevant question. Clearing time?
Mondays, weekly. So schools can request to release it earlier, and I think the cost there is 10 Rand for that release. I think that's what the Stickit charge is. But the automated release into the school's bank accounts is on Mondays on a weekly basis. The schools obviously have visibility in terms of who has paid or who has not paid real time, but the release of money from stick it into the school's bank account will be on Mondays.
Someone has a question. It's more a statement, same as carry app ? So I think it's similar. I'm not too au fait with the carry app. I don't know if you know, but this enables cashless payment, and there are various other brands out there that I think we're all on the same page of. We do not want cash in our learners' hands and on campus. 3 years ago, there was a horrible shooting here in Edenvale. I was involved in a news interview about that. It's just crazy to see cops and robbers with real bullets for something like 8,000 Rand on a school's campus. Our kids should not be seeing that. And I'm not talking about kids that lose money, kids that get bullied for money, and these kind of things. So let's just live and learn as we live, because this is my money. I don't have cash, so let's just go in that route. But yeah, it enables cashless payment. The other one is, last one, are there monthly service fees, rental fees involved for using D6? I would hope so, because if it's for free, there's a problem with sustainability. So Willem, I'm sure your sales team will handle that, but can you confirm?
Yes, we will. There is a very simplistic pricing structure on the communication platform. So depending on the school's need, we do assess what the school's needs are in terms of size of school and which functionality they're interested in. And based on that, we provide the school with a package. Maybe just on the question regarding the other payment platforms, I think what we're trying to achieve is to consolidate things into one environment. The same group of parents in the grade 1 class is normally the same people that you also request the payment from. So by being able to communicate to those groups and also request payments from them, we want to facilitate that within a single environment. And that's what we've tried to achieve, or achieved within our communication platform.
Yeah, and just clarify, I'm a parent that has a grade 7 learner. So next year I'm in high school and primary school at the same time. One can follow more than one school with the same app, with the same wallet.
No.
All right.
So we'll receive it in one environment, yes.
Okay. It would appear that you're understanding what parents are going through, and more so what schools are going through. So Willem, we've come to the end of our time, 3 minutes over, not seen anyone leave the room. I don't see any more questions in the Q&A unless something has popped in quickly.
We did miss one, Riaan. Sorry to interrupt you. We did miss one.
Direct to tuck shop, not school.
So there was one, are we going to launch a card? I'm not entirely sure. I'll need to speak to Sticker about it. They utilize the wearables in primary schools. And we know in high schools, people tend to move more towards actually utilizing phones as opposed to a card. But that's something which we'll engage with Sticker on. And then, yes, tuck shops, a big focus on the on-campus procurement is the ability to facilitate tuck shop spend, clothing banks, or what the clothing stores on campus. Any on-campus facilitation of cash is what Sticker is primarily focusing on in order to eradicate via this entire environment. So yes, we do facilitate that, Darby.
Yeah, so even if the small shop, the Spar or someone across the road wants to utilize it, that could also work. It's not school account based, it's the facility based. All right. Can't we have fingerprints, I guess, at the tuck shop? It says fingerprint payment or biometric payment. I think that's a question. Maybe we should get Stick It in very shortly in the second term and have a chat about the payment.
That's definitely something which Stick It can talk loads on. I think one of the biggest assessments that they've done was to ensure that we speed up the process at tuck shops to make the payment facilitation as quickly as possible, because the biggest issue that they do face is how do you get 1,000 learners, or how many ever, that goes to the tuck shop at that short amount of time to facilitate the payments. So there's a whole bunch of stuff, whether fingerprints is better than tap and pay, etc. But I'll leave that up to Stick It. Misplaced cards, you can stop your wearable, so parents have the ability to disable it immediately. There's also an important thing that when they tap and pay, the tuck shop or the merchant will see a picture of your child, so that if it's Pity and it shouldn't be Pity, and it doesn't look like Pity, the merchant wouldn't allow him to transact. So there is certain security elements built into it, yes.
We'll have a secondary discussion with Stickit. They're on the list for a webinar early in the second semester or second term. But yeah, if you just go and connect with D6, they can point you to Stickit if you've got more questions on the payment mechanisms, cards, fingerprints, and these kind of things. Or just contact me. My email address was flighted in the beginning. It's very easy, tech@fedsas.org.za. Or if you really want to, Riaan@fedsas.org.za. I'll get both, but let's keep the discussion going. Willem, thank you so much for sharing with us. We're 6 minutes over time, but really engaging, and I think that's the point of it. So my takeaway is, let's improve schools, let's improve our management in schools and think on where we spend money, where we could be more efficient with salaries and people's time so that they don't do what computers do. Let's make our schools safer with no cash on the system, and let's get engaged parents. FEDSAS believes that the engaged parent component of a school really plays a big role. That's the cornerstone of our public school system, the cornerstone of the SGB, with the majority of parents on the SGB. We're all partners in this, so let's engage and take responsibility for the investment.